All right, we did it.
Here we are.
Here we are. Okay. A few glitches, but we did it.
Yeah. So a question for you guys. What gets you out of bed in the morning? How many people wake up in the morning and just lay there and go, this is not where I expected my life was going to be? And what's driving you? What gets you up to make a decision to change things? So we're here to tell you that your past does not have to define your future. Yes. You can make choices, strategic choices that will help you to be the person that you were made to be, with passion, with motivation, with exhilaration, with zeal, and everything that encompasses life.
All the things.
Yes. Yeah. We're here to share our story.
Yes. Y'all, it's not too late to rewrite your story. And that's what today's video is going to be about. We hope that you're joining us live. And if you are here live, give us a thumbs up. Comment on the screen that you're live. If you're on the replay, comment replay so that we know that you were here. But today's topic is, it's not too late to write your story.
If there is still breath in your lungs, you have the ability to change your future.
Yes. So we want to welcome you to the Saturday series. We will be here every Saturday that we can possibly be here, sharing with you our story, how we have overcome, how we have walked in victory, how we have fallen in failures, of all the things that we've done. We're Steve and Sandy, and we are founders of A WildCrafted Life and East Tennessee Homestead Alliance, as well as the Homestead event. And we're here today as testaments to the fact that you can rewrite the next chapter of your life.
So our story began 40 years ago, and literally I'm 66, and my life literally began 40 years ago when I met this beautiful woman sitting right here. And 5 kids, 11 grandchildren later, and an incredible life that we get to enjoy every season of. Yes. Does it mean that it was without struggles? No. Does it mean that it didn't have challenges? Yes.
It did. What's life without challenges, right? You never get to experience the sunshine if you haven't had the rain.
But it's right between your ears is your ability to move forward and to embrace life and to the opportunities that it creates for us.
Yes. Yes.
They come to all of us.
Yes.
But between our ears is whether or not we can embrace them or not.
That's right. That's right. You know, so often we hear people say, it's too late to get healthy. It's too late for me to exercise. It's too late for me to start over. It's too late for me to start something new or learn something new. How many of you are out there saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Well, we are a testament that you can do that. Yes. Your skill level, all the things only come about when you finally make that decision. So we don't believe that. We're going to challenge the lie. All right. We're going to challenge that lie for you, not because it's Instagram worthy or because we came up with some great quotes. We're going to challenge it with our own lives and with our own story and the places that we've been and the places that we're going. So we hope you'll lean in today as we begin to talk about the very first thing, which is, Steve already mentioned it, your past is only a chapter. It does not define your life. Oftentimes we allow the past to define us. We allow the things that happen to us to define us. Those don't define us. They might explain us. They might help others understand where we are in life, but it's who you're becoming is your identity.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. So what are we allowing in our lives? If you're somebody, I want you to tell us in the comments, are you somebody who's like, I've believed that. I don't think I can change anything. I don't think anything else can happen in my life that's going to be for good or that's going to change where I was to who I want to be. If that's you, drop the word below. It's too late. It's too late, because we're hoping to really help you out there.
There's a lot of songs out there. It's too late, baby, now or whatever. But it's not. For you to change your perspective.
Yes.
And to have a healthy one and find one thing. Just start with one small thing.
Right.
And get a win on it.
Right.
And I promise it'll launch you into the next one. You're going to say, I feel good.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. We all have chapters in our lives, right, that we would like to skip. We'd like to be like, hit the skip button over that. You know, We all have that with the internet nowadays. We can just skip it, skip the movie, right? Ever when we want to do that. What we want to really help you to understand is that we don't want to skip those chapters. Those chapters helped shape us into who we are today.
That's right.
But what we do want to do is take those chapters. We want to learn from them. We want.
And you have two choices. You can either learn from them or be the victim.
That's right.
And say, I'm stuck here. This is the hand I've been dealt.
Right.
And you're being lied to.
Yeah.
And you're believing a lie.
Right. If you were to look at our lives, for those of you that do know us, you know our story. If you were to look at our lives, you would say, I don't know how y'all made it, especially coming from the background that you came from. Well,
yep, because before I met my wife, I was a homeless, incarcerated drug addict with a 9th grade education. And so I had some struggles, some hurdles to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to make choices. Mm-hmm. And I made very small choices that allowed me to move forward mm-hmm. and to renew my mind. Mm-hmm. And honestly, folks, with a 9th grade education and being a drug addict, I used a lot of colorful metaphors in my vocabulary. And I was like, and then when I decided to stop, I couldn't talk. I was like, okay, that's not the words I want coming out of my mouth. And even today, I still live by a standard as I refuse to use colorful language. Mm-hmm. I'm not offended by it. I just choose to say that was my past. I am not going to live there. I am going to embrace a good vocabulary that allows me to define who I am, where I'm going, and to help others do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And you can do that.
What I love about what you've done, honey, is that for so long, your identity was built around the background that you came out of, an abusive lifestyle, and then into drugs and into crime. That was your identity. That's who you, mm-hmm. that's the only way you identified with yourself. And you just touched on something, which is you made one decision, right? One decision to choose to do something different. When someone's writing a book, they don't write the book overnight. They start page by page. And part of your book has already been written. Part of our books have already been written. But when we begin to realize, I don't know that I like where this story is going, mm-hmm. you have the power to change that. You have the power to put the pen to paper and say, I'm going to change how this ends. You're never going to be able to go back and change where you were. Right. But you can go forward and change where you're going, right?
And you know what? When I remember the last thing I quit was smoking weed, and that's got a different spin today than it did back then. However, it had a stronghold on me, and the night before I'd make these pledges, I am going to quit. Mm-hmm. And I wake up in the morning and I'd reach over for something and I go, oh, you quit. What'd you do that for? Because in the morning, you got to remind yourself of the decision you make. Is it easy? No. Is it rewarding? Yes. Will you be set free from it? Yes. But you have to make every day count. You have mm-hmm. to get up in the morning and say, I am choosing to embrace today mm-hmm. and embrace the decision I made and walk in it.
Mm-hmm. And I think even for you, that was a day-to-day thing. Sometimes it's a minute-to-minute thing, especially if you have grown up with addictions. You might just be thinking, I just want to get through the next hour, mm-hmm. right? I'm going to make the choice for the next hour. And then you celebrate that. All right, I got through that hour. I'm going to make the choice for the following hour. And you make that. It's like a million brave choices that started with one. And so oftentimes we tend to identify ourselves with our performance. That would be me, right? So if I did not perform well, if I was not successful at something, if I let the ball fall and I feel like I failed, instead of just saying, okay, that was a learning lesson, I had a tendency to say, I'm a failure. And I would look at myself and I'd say, well, because I struggled through that and because I didn't perform well, then I'm not cut out for this. This must not be what I'm supposed to do, right? That's kind of having that stuck mindset instead of the growth mindset. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to make mistakes. It doesn't make us a failure. It doesn't make us broken. It doesn't make us to a place where we can't change. The only time you can't change is when you say, I won't.
I'm done. And you make that decision between your ears.
Right.
This is like, I'm done. This is too hard.
Right. And my husband has this saying, I love it. He's like, the 18 inches
between your heart and your head
is the longest chasm ever. Right. So oftentimes we make that decision in our head, but we got to get it down into our heart.
That's right.
And I one of the things that I love about this book called Atomic Habits, it talks about making those habits are going to begin to create you, right? So it starts in your head. It starts with that decision. It starts with a logical decision. I am no longer going to do this, or I'm going to make this change today, whether it's in my health, whether it's in my marriage, whether it's in how I'm talking to people. Maybe it's how I'm talking to myself, right? I'm going to make that change. How do you do that? How do you get it from here to here? We're actually going to really talk about that on our next live video. But what I want to help you to understand is it's not about listening to another podcast. It's not about motivation. It's not about pumping yourself up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, right?
It's not a rah-rah session.
It's not a rah-rah session. It is literally a decision and an action. And one of the areas that I'm really growing in is to be a person of consistency. You guys, change is boring. It's freedom, but it requires boring repetition every single day, every minute of the day, of saying, I'm going to be consistent. So I'm a personal trainer. I train my clients. Some of my clients say, I don't want to do this same workout for the 4th time in a row. And I say, but your goal was you wanted to get strong and build muscle. Am I correct? Yeah. Okay. We have to stay consistent with the boring things, eating healthy, building the muscle, getting up with the sunlight. It's basic, boring things that are going to get you to your goal. It's not the constant rah-rah and then fall off and rah-rah and fall off, right?
That's actually very unhealthy.
Yeah.
Because now you're creating a lifestyle, and the thought pattern is these peaks and valleys where you want to get it to where it's eventually right here.
Right.
For example, the last 2 years I've had some health challenges that I've had to overcome. And as a result, today I have a little bit of inflammation. So we decided to change up our diet. And we've always had a fairly healthy diet that we enjoy. However, this one's restricting me a little more, and your palate is a very difficult thing to change. And so I am 2 weeks in today, actually, of changing, and I'm noticing some improvement with some inflammation that I'm getting a handle on. So at 66, you're still making choices to make changes.
Yes. If you're not, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not changing. If you're not changing,
you're already dead.
Exactly.
Just nail the topic.
Just nail it down. That's right. That's right. Listen, nobody ever feels ready. Okay. You're not going to ever feel ready for change, because I'm hearing you already in the background going, yeah, but it's too hard.
You don't know my story.
You don't know. Oh, yes. We have heard that one. And we're like, we're not comparing stories, but if you understood our story, we're telling you, we're testaments to, and we're going to share our story as we go through these Saturday series. But your story is your story, and there's no shame.
And we're not going to downplay that either.
No.
We know that some of you have probably more difficult challenges than we did.
Yes.
However, you can overcome.
Yeah. If you still have breath in your lungs, you can overcome. So what do we do first? We decide. I want you to get out your journal. I'm hoping that you guys will grab a journal, grab a piece of paper, grab your phone notes, whatever you want to use, and jot down very small things. Your past explains you, but it doesn't define you. Okay. This is just your chapter. But one of the things, as I have worked with a lot of my clients, I've said to them, why are you here? What got you to the place where you are, where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling unmotivated, where you're feeling like you have no other choices? What got you here? We love this particular author. His name is Andy Andrews, and he wrote a book called The Traveler's Gift. And in the you guys, you got to go watch, or you got to go read this book. It's a phenomenal book. It changed your life.
Mhm.
And in there, he talks about the 7 decisions. And if you know anything about Andy Andrews, he was homeless, living under a bridge, and he started to he was given a library card, and he started reading books, and he began to see the patterns in people's lives that were millionaires, that were inventors, that were people that were really taking the world by storm. And he began to see these patterns, and from that he developed these 7 principles that he calls I think it's just the 7 decisions. And the very first one is probably one of my favorites. He says, the buck stops here. So it would be really easy, especially for my husband, to blame all the people, his parents, all the things in his past for where he was, for what happened to him. It'd be easy for him to stay stuck there. What happened to him was not, the buck didn't stop with him. But what he did with it, that's where the buck stops with us. What are we going to do with those chapters? Mm-hmm. We can either let them, like we said, define us, or we can let them be.
That shaped our character.
Right.
And you know what? As a result of those things, I like to think I'm a better person today because of them.
Mm-hmm. We've talked, you hear the old adage, if you've been handed lemons, make lemonade, right? It seems so cliche, but it's true. You can take whatever you've been handed, whatever hand you've been dealt, and you can lay it down and pick up a new card, okay? Squeeze the lemons out and make lemonade. Now, can we do this in our own strength? No. As we have surrendered our hearts to God and to his sovereign will, he has walked us through these things. And I didn't say he threw our past out, but he's walked us through them. He's helped us to heal from things that have kept us stuck. But it required the first decision on our part. It required that. So my husband also has a great quote. Most people overestimate
what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 5 years.
Yes. So explain that, honey. What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is you come at it very zealous and not realistic of what it's going to take to complete, say, a project or a work or something. And you tend to start out with a bang, and then you fizzle down and you're like, this is a lot harder and longer than I thought it was going to be. Where if you take 5 years and you look at it from a long-term perspective, and that's what you have to do. It's essential for any success, is you have to learn to think long-term.
Yes.
And you take it one day at a time, and you're not focused. You're focused on today and knowing what your goal is, and that you are taking small increments. And in a couple of years, you're going to look back and go, wow, I came from all the way back there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And look at where I've got.
Right.
And then the light bulb goes on one day, and it just happens almost instantaneous. When you're consistent, all of a sudden you're like, wow, I made it. I'm here. And you didn't even realize that you got to say, oh, look, that doesn't have control over anymore.
Right.
Those thoughts, those people, those bad habits, everything have no control over me anymore.
Right. Right.
And that's where you can get.
Yes. So begin to realize that this is a journey. And I'm a super goal-oriented person. My husband is really good at enjoying the journey and walking the process out. I'm all about the goal, but I'm really learning to remind myself that this is a long process and not get discouraged when it feels like the process is taking longer than it should. Because any movement forward is still movement forward.
And is there going to be days you're going to wake up and go, I don't feel like doing this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you've got 8 seconds to change your mind.
Exactly. I love that you brought that up, because you literally have 8 seconds to change your mind. You have 10 minutes before your body registers the negative thought into full depression. 10 minutes. 8 seconds to change it. Okay. So this is why God's word says to renew your mind, because so often we get caught with that negative thought and we don't capture it and take it captive. We allow it, we want to chew on it because it feels good sometimes, right? It feels good to talk about how we're such a failure. It feels good to ruminate on our past. We think it feels good. It's kind of putting us
Self-sabotaging.
It is. It's
Yeah.
self-sabotaging, right? And I used to ask my clients this. I did a whole program on being wildly capable, and it was a women's group, fitness group, and we worked on a lot of these. And one of the biggest things we did talk about was self-sabotage, and we'll probably get into that in our Saturday series. But I want you to ask yourself: do you self-sabotage?
Sometimes you think it feels good to beat yourself up, and if I beat myself up enough, then I'm worthy of the next one.
Right.
That, folks, that's
Yeah.
not good thinking.
That's not good thinking. And that is probably a habitual pattern that you have been walking in for a long time.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't examine your heart and your motives and how you did things. No,
Right.
Absolutely look at those things. Just don't stay there.
Right. I love, my husband used to say to our kids all the time when they'd come to us with something, he's like, that's great. Like, we're going to work through that, but we're not going to stay there. I want you to grieve. I want you to
go through the
process. But at some point, you'll have to make a choice, even if you don't feel like it. Okay.
Otherwise, you are making a choice. You're making a choice to let just whatever happens define you.
Right. Just to stay stuck. Right. Because we don't rewrite.
And you're going to be like a hamster on a wheel going round and round, and somebody stopped this wheel so I can get off.
Right.
And then when you get off, you're like, oh, I don't have any purpose, so I'm going to get back on.
Right. Yeah. There's so many facets to growing and rewriting your story. But what we wanted to share with you today is that it literally just starts with one decision. Number one, recognizing I'm stuck and I don't want to be here. If you like where you are, this video is not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you truly are feeling like I don't want to be stuck anymore, I don't want to continue to look at my life through the lens of where I was and of what happened to me. Yes, it happened to you. And it's probably wasn't a good thing. It didn't feel good. And it probably created some destructive ways in your life. It happened. What can you do to rebuild? What can you do to rewrite the new chapter? You might not have achieved your dreams yet. You might not have the marriage you want. You might not have the adventures you want. You might not even have the job you want yet. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. You can either let that past continue to direct your future, or you can choose to submit yourself to God's ways and let Him direct you through those decisions that you make. So we want to leave you with a closing thought, okay? What if you looked at life different? What if you took a chance on yourself and said, okay, I'm gonna make a change today? What would that change be? What would you focus on? Drop it in the comments. If you're brave enough, we'd like to celebrate with you. We'd like to pray with you. We'd like to hold you accountable to what you would like to see change in your life today.
And really just find one thing. Get quiet and just search your heart and the Lord and just say, what's the one thing that I could start today?
Yes.
And you're going to find that one thing actually has a ripple effect that applies to many other areas in your life, but you just stay faithful with that. Yes. And it's going to be unfamiliar. And you know what? We all like familiar routines. And this is going to interrupt your schedule, your life, your thought pattern. But I promise you, life will come. It will.
It will. It will come. Thanks for being with us today, guys. Again, if you were here on the live, bring down live and comment live. And if you're here on the replay, comment replay. We will be back with our next in the Saturday series of what next? What do we do next? If we've started on this journey of rewriting our story, what is next? We hope you'll join us. If you are not following us yet, we are on Facebook at A WildCrafted Life. We are also on Instagram at A WildCrafted Life. You can follow us in both of those places and get updates on what we're doing. All right. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Yeah, it was good.